Are we live or not? Because I see
Yeah,
people writing, so I guess that we are kind of live. I don't know if the video is live,
yeah,
but
we're
anyway,
now live. Yeah, live.
good, good.
Hi, hi everyone. Welcome to our third live coding session. In this case, it will be a little bit different because the one coding will be Javi. I didn't want to code anymore, so he will do all the coding. And just for your reference, uh, it will be a bit more advanced than the previous ones, and also we will be showing a new feature that we just released. Is still in beta. That is the testing framework, but I hope you will all like it. Okay, Javi, you want to introduce yourself? Everybody knows you, but just in case.
No, thank you. Yeah, I'm Javi, one of the founders of tinybird. Um, Actually, I don't code anymore. So if you see me like making mistakes, I mean, it's totally fine. It's allowed. I'm allowed to do those mistakes. Right now, I'm leading the customer success area. So if you're a customer of tinybird, you probably have talked to me at some point. Um, and let's see if you like this thing. We basically I don't know. Yeah, I think that it's better you, Gonzalo, to introduce the what we are going to do, and I will do the pitch about
Yeah,
it, about about the clients and where we use it and so on.
absolutely. The thing here is sometimes we got asked about creating alerts and all that, and we've done that in several projects. So we created this live coding session, and the step we will follow will be subscribing to the Wikipedia streaming API where every new change is registered, and we can consume that to create a tiny data project. We will be showing the UI, but mainly the CLI in order to show you how to treat data projects as code projects. Then, once we are able to start ingesting and have the data sources in tinybird, we will create a very basic alert based on a threshold of the number of edits of the Wikipedia stream. We will do some testing about the data project, and finally steps 3 and 4, if we have the time. That I don't know if we will have it. We hope we will have it. We hope you all ask many questions and we don't get there. But if we have the time, we will improve the logic of the alerts in order to avoid false positive, in order to get historical data to improve how the alerts are done, and lately using an algorithm that Wikipedia itself uses in order to detect if they are being censored in any country, or if they have an outage or something like that.
Good. Let's move on. So first thing that we are going to talk is a little bit of data projects. Um, if you're familiar with DBT, or DBT, yeah, DBT is probably the closest thing that we have. Basically, a data project allows you to put or describe data projects in text, like in the same way that you have your application and you code it in Python, PHP, or Java, or any other language, and you have all your JavaScript files and everything in your repository, and then with those files you deploy it. Basically, we do the same with data projects. Of course, those data projects are really tied to how we deal with real-time data, and we will explain how to use them in order to create this project. We are going to do 50 or 60% of the work on the CLI, on the cell, using these data projects and the CLI tool that allows us to play with them. And of course, we have the UI. This is what I don't know. Can you switch to my screen, Gonzalo? Thank you.
Yep.
So, and you can use the UI, which is this the UI that we have in tinybird. Is really good when you want to do quick things, when you want to interact with data and so on. But then after you want to move to production, you want to have your endpoints, you want to ingest your data and so on. You want to keep everything in a control version like Git, and and collaborate with everyone in GitHub, GitLab, or whatever is the application that you use, in the same way that you work with other projects, Python, JavaScript, PHP, you name it. Anyway, let's get into it. So I mean, I guess that I don't know if you're familiar with the with tinybird with tinybird UI, but basically it allows you to uh, upload data sources, create pipes, and so on. I'm not going to do it right now. I mean, for example, a pipe looks like this. You have nodes, and of course you can like chain a node. So for example, if I have this node 0, I can use it here, and I can query a node 0. Right now, of course, I don't query in any data, just selecting one, which is pretty dumb. But you will see how this is really important and is really powerful. Anyway, I'm not going to work here. I'm a a dark screen guy, so we are going to work here. Um, so the first thing that we are going to do is set up the data project, which is basically it's really easy. But before talking about data projects, we need to talk about the tools that we use to manage those data projects. And the tool that we use is TB. You can install TB with pip install tinybird slash CLI. I don't remember dash CLI. I don't remember what's the name. I'm using a development version here because I love to because if it fails, I can blame I'm working with a development version and that kind of thing. So I love to use development versions. Anyway, if you, I mean, I already did it, but I'm going to do it again. Is this big enough? Can you see it? Yeah, okay. Gonzalo is going to tell me many times during this stream, hey, could you make it bigger? So
I
if you
can
don't see it, so if
I
you
can
don't
see,
see it, okay, good.
but if you guys in the chat cannot, just let us know and we will make Javi make it bigger.
Yeah, good. So basically, this is the help, and you see a lot of commands here. But basically, the one that I'm going to talk about now is DB init. So I'm going to just get, you know, call it. Oh shit! No, I don't want it. I'm going to create. I'm going to create a folder because in PMP I have like I don't know, maybe 2,000 files. So I'm going to create alert. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to init the project again. So as you can see, I'm going to show you what it created, which is basically there are like just 4 folders which are empty. But basically, this is the structure of the project. I mean, this is data sources, which is where we store data, endpoints, how we uh, show the data, pipes, which is like how we process the data, and tests is where we store the data. That's it. I mean, it's as easy as that. If you are used to using dbt, I guess that you're familiar with, it's not this structure, but the kind of objects are kind of the same. So yeah, anyway, so let's start to uh,
Actually,
ingest data. Yeah,
as you can see there, inside of data sources, there's the fixture one that you will
yeah,
be using later on. But yeah,
yeah. Inside data sources, there's fixtures. We'll talk about that because it's going to be quite easy. Thank you, Anna, for pointing out how to install tinybird. Um, uh, should we move to the ingestion part? Because right now,
yeah,
this is the setup of the project. This is as easy as that. So now
yeah.
we need to load data.
Yeah, and to do so, we are going to be using the as we said the Wikipedia streaming API that you can check in this URL. We will post it in the chat for you to check it. And here, well, I think you have you have the web page open, but it offers you some snippets of code in order to consume the data. We use Python inside Tinybird, so we will stick to Python. And okay, let's see how it's done in real life.
Yeah. So Wikimedia has this nice API. Uh, I love it. I mean, I love that they are so open that they have this kind of thing just without actually any API key or anything like that, which is, I mean, probably one of the, I don't remember an example of this. But anyway, I'm going to use this example in order to see to show you how it works. So if I paste this here, you are going to see how a lot of JSON is coming all the time. So basically, this kind of we could like redirect straight to tinybird. I'm going, of course, you can do that like in a command line yet, but it will be nice. It will be nice to have a command to stream straight to the events API. That's API that we are going to use to push data to tinybird. But anyway, in this case, I'm going to use Python because I like Python, and I'm going to actually get this one because it's shorter. And I'm going to just create a script to get the data from that API, and I'm going to push it to tinybird. It's like I mean, it's going to be really simple. You know, I'm going to code a little bit, so you see that I'm still able to code. I'm going to actually remove things, not add things, so that's easy. I'm going to remove this. So in theory, if I call this script, I will start to see things on the screen. Uh, Basically, I code a small the backline, which is not really useful. But one thing that we are going to do, we are going to get a sample of the data. I mean, we are just going to redirect to edit events.ndjson for a while. So I'm going to get the data. I'm going to tail here to see if we are getting actually data. So yeah, of course we are getting data. Let's wait for a bit until we have like let's say 400, 500 events, because it's interesting to have like at least a really not a huge sample, but uh, a reasonable sample. Okay, we have 500, almost 600, so that's good. So now I'm going to make this bigger because I think that is better. So now what I have here is, of course, all the structure, and I have some data here. So what's the next steps? What the next steps are? So with the data, I can generate a landing data source, which is where we are going to put the data in tinybird. So the way that we usually do is like you go to the UI here, you click here, data sources, and you basically go here, choose a file and so on. But in this case, we are going to do that in a different way, which is we are going to use TB, the CLI tool. So if you go to here to TB data source, you will see how uh, there are like many commands. For example, there is one command which is ls in order to show how many data sources we have. And of course, it's failing because I didn't run the command to
Typical.
authenticate. So I'm going to tb auth, which is the command that is used to say, hey, I'm Javi. So I'm going to get my token. I'm going to paste it here, and in theory, if I run this is going to work, and it's going to show nothing because I don't have any data source. That's fine. So um, if you check the commands that we have in the TB data source, we have different ones, but the one that I'm interested in is generate. Generate, basically, it gets a local file, it analyzes it, and generates a data source for you, so you can like start pushing data to that data source. It's much better to actually run it, generate, and of course I'm going to say what I want to, I mean, what's the file that I want to use to generate the data. In this case, it's like edit events, and that's it. It says, hey, I generated edit events data source. You can push it to tinybird like this. There is some data, the data that you had, you can push it like this. And also we generated some fixture, which is basically a part of the data that we will use before. So yeah, we are going to check how this file looks like. So this file looks like this, which is is complex because there are like a lot of rows, a lot of columns, sorry, because for each field in the ndjson we generate a column. But in this case, it's quite easy to read because you have, for example, here the name of the column, the type, and how to get it from the JSON. That's it. you don't need to worry about too much about this. So the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to do push this data source. When I say push, you see here the command push is basically deploy, which is, hey, I have this file here, I'm going to deploy it to tinybird. So if I go here to the dashboard, uh, I should see this thing. If I get this right, yeah, here this. Um, of course, it's empty. So we can go here and say, hey, okay, just put the data that we just got to the data source, so we can start playing with it. So if I open this again, I will see a lot of data here, which is like let me check how many rows we have, which is it will be like 640, which is like basically what we have in the file. That's it. I mean, now we have of course, we have the data source, edit events with the proper schema, and then of course we need to put data in. I put some data, but we want to put data all the time, as in streaming. So the right thing to do will be to, sorry, this is not what I wanted to show. Ideally, and I don't know where I'm showing you things that you should see later. Anyway, I'm going to edit this file, and that's it. Okay, so this is the script that we have. So of course, what I will need to do is just using requests, which is request.post, which is the library, Python library to do HTTP requests in an easy way and so on. To an URL. Basically, if you go here to the data source and you click append, uh, you can do that like selecting the file, but you can also see how to do this using the API, right? So basically, it's as easy pushing data to a data source is as easy as just posting the CSV file or just posting the data in the body. But in this case, I don't want you spend like a lot of data, a lot of time, sorry, you know, doing this. So what I'm going to do is basically getting something that I already coded, and I'm going to explain you a little bit because you don't want me to see me coding actually. So if you take a look, um, this is basically the same script with the event source and so on. So basically what I'm doing here is like I have a buffer. When the buffer gets to a point that is 10, which is a low value in order to get less latency. Basically what we do, and this is the important part, this is the most interesting part. Basically what we do is like we get that data, generate an ngJSON file, and we post it to Tenable. That's it. If you don't know Python, I mean, of course, I mean, it's not that hard to understand that even if you don't know Python.
One thing here is that when you clicked in the data source, the snippet of code was telling you to send the events to the data sources API.
Yeah.
This is the API that we use for CSV or big JSON, but in an asynchronous way or in a not to send events. For this example, we are going to send to the events API.
Yeah, that's why you see here the URL is not data sources, it's events, because you send like information in one by one. And you can use one by one. In general, it's much better to batch a little bit because, what's the point of sending 300 events per second for this kind of use case, of course. So the name of the data source is edit events. I have this here, so I'm going to change it. And as you can see, there is like here some token information. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a token to push data in. So I'm going to go to of tokens. I'm going to add a new token. New token is I'm going to call it append edits, and then I'm going to add a data source scope to edit events and just to append data. I don't want people to read information with this token. I just want them to append. So that's it. That's it. Save changes. I have my token here. I copy it and I TB token append. So I'm going to export TB token. Sorry. Token append, and I'm going to paste it, and that's it. So in theory, if I call this thing, it will work. That's the theory. Looks like it's working because I'm
It
printing the
works.
return code for HTTP, and and the number of rows that I'm sending for each one. In order to check if this is working, I go back to this pipe where I have the count, and if I call it, and continue executing the query, I should see how this number gets bigger. So that's it. I guess that, yeah, I mean, we are done with the ingestion. It's as easy as that. Of course, we put a lot of, we explain way too many things, I think, because that's so easy that I mean, of course, we explained it because if you are new to tinybird, it requires some explanation. But in general, if you go to the documentation, it's really easy to integrate with this kind of API because it's just posting data, NDJSON data to an endpoint, and that's it. It's as simple as that. We will share the code, by the way, um, in a repo, but in any case, it's so simple that you can like do it by yourself in like 5 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah. Right now, now we have some data being ingested. So we are going to show you how to check what columns are more interesting or less interesting. So I think Javi, you were going to show Karman a little bit to do so.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is like in order to let me try to see you in the screen because I don't see you. Okay, so basically we just started to import data, so we have a few rows. So some days ago, actually last month, I got some data during 2 days. I didn't want to push because this is done by Wikipedia for free, so I didn't want to push their servers a lot. So basically, I took 2 days of data during, of course, 2 days, just to explain a little bit how it works. I didn't want to push more things. Actually, no people working at Wikimedia, they SRI, SREs, and so on. So Filippo, you are watching us. Hey, uh, so I got like 2 days of data here, and I wanted to show you a little bit this tool, which is Karman. Karman is an internal tool that we use in order to analyze data sources really fast. I mean, so you have a data source like with data, you just point the Karman to that data source, and you can do things like the ones that I'm going to show you. So this is basically the amount of edits that we are getting in Wikipedia each 5 minutes, which is 1200 and so on. So let me change it for 1 minute, something like that. Yeah, 1 minute. I mean, you can go to 5 seconds. It doesn't matter, but it's too much noise, I guess. So we are going to go to 1 minute. So one comment here is like, you see this here, this basically is my fault because I stopped the script because I had it running on a team max session or something like that. So it looks like I close it. For some reason, I lost some data, but this is not that important. Actually, we are going to see some things related to this hole here. Anyway, if you, for example, go here and choose the group by column, you will see how one of the columns that you have in the JSON, if that says if the edit was done by a bot or by a person. So basically, you see how like half of the edits are done by bots. So that's fine. I mean, I guess that they are helping. I don't know so much about Wikipedia, so I guess that is good. Anyway, you can play with this a lot. For example, we can change, we can see, let's see the domain. Let's go to the domain because server name, script, server URL. You'll see how there are like uh, many or most of the edits are done by in Wikidata, and then you have different English, French, Russian, and so on. So you see how you can see this. Of course, you can like change this and make this per hour or something like that, so you can see more clearly. But anyway, I'm going to keep to 1 minute because the granularity that we are going to use for the alarm is going to be 1 minute. Okay, so if you check, I'm going to remove this group by. you could filter here and say bot equals 0, for example, and this is going to change and it's going to filter by bot 0. That's it. But I don't want to. don't want to do that. I want to keep this the general count. I mean, how many edits do we get per minute? So if you take a look, you'll see how the minimum amount of edits that you get per minute is more or less 900, uh, 900, 800. If you go this and you print, because I got data from more days, I'm going to get the last month. You'll see I'm going to change this because it changed to 1 hour, because I don't think it makes sense to see per minute 1 month. But anyway, in this case, I'm going to do it. So this is test that I did to get data from Wikimedia. I stored it in Tinybird, not all the time, but it's a good enough sample. So you see that in general the minimum amount of events per minute is like 900, 800 more or less. And that's really important because we are going to use that value in order to create the alert. Okay.
Yeah. So, quick recap of what we've done up until now. We've started sending data to a data source. We've used Karman to analyze it a little bit and get the threshold that will be around 800 or 900. And now what we're going to do is create a very basic alert and then using Uptime Robot to send the alerts to our Slack community. So you guys can join the Slack community to see if the alert works or it doesn't work.
Okay. Okay. So let me check if I have here. Okay. Good. So I'm going to continue editing this pipe and I'm going to make it. I'm going to use the UI now to create alert. Okay, and go through the whole process. Okay. So basically, I'm going to rename this pipe. I'm going to go to alert Wikipedia edits. I think that is Wikimedia, but not Wikipedia anyway. But anyway, so the thing is like we are going to get the number of edits in the last minute. So in this case, the full count is like 2,000, 12,000. So that's what we have so far in these 10 minutes, I guess, something like that. So if I do this meta ds, I'm going to use meta dt, which is the timestamp of the edit. I'm going to say, hey, give me the ones that are in the last minute, interval 1 minute. Um, this is the amount of edits done in 1 minute, which is, as we saw, is closer to what we saw in Karman. So I'm going to call this edit count. I'm going to rename this node to last minute. Last minute edits to be clear. Of course, you can write comment here, last minute edits, and you can use Markdown and so on. But this is not the objective of this streaming. Anyway, so well, we have the edit count. So how do we alert when things go bad? So basically, what I'm going to do, and this is so simple. If edit count is greater than, we are going to put 800. Okay, it's great. It's like we are fine. If not, we are not fine. I'm going to say status here. I'm going to call this column status. So you might guess, I'm going to call this endpoint. You might guess, yeah, that's good, but this is something that I have in here. How do I get this out? So I love that you asked that question. I probably you didn't ask, but I'm pretty sure that you have that question in mind.
YouTube
So
is full of people asking how to publish an endpoint.
that's not true because I'm looking at YouTube comments and there is no one asking that anyway. Anyway, so we can click there. I don't know if you saw it, but I'm going to do it again. Okay, I can do it again because I already created the endpoint. But anyway, you have the view API here, which is you can turn any node into a API endpoint. So basically, I have here the URL that I can use to call the endpoint. So look, if I just call the endpoint, it's going to say, okay, if I, for example, let me change a little bit the threshold. I'm going to put something crazy like of course, I'm going to call it. I'm going to get error. One thing that I love to do when I report the status is not only report the status, but the actual number. So um, so you have edit, and you could also write here like a message for someone's watching the actual alert. Like for example, if edit count is greater than that, I can write like for example, edits are over 800 or whatever, right? Anyway, I don't want to get into this at this point because of course error less than 800. So again, shit, I didn't do it properly. uh, Shades. So if you go here and you can like see it's already 800, so everything is fine. Anyway, I'm going to just keep status for this demo. So what are the next step? What is the next step? Is basically is like I'm going to get this endpoint and I'm going to call it from a tool called Uptime Robot. I don't know if you are like familiar with it, but you could use any tool that you use, Grafana, Uptime Robot, whatever you use that allows you to call an endpoint or is able to fetch data through Postgres protocol. That will work with Tinybird. So I'm going to add a new monitor here. Keyword is the kind of alert that I'm going to use. This is kind of big. Can you see it? Yeah, I think that is great, right? Okay.
more or less. Yeah.
Wikipedia edits alert. I'm going to call the endpoint, the one that I just created. Keyword. So if we see there's the error, we should alert when keyword exists. I'm going to call it when error exists. And um, there is like a bug here in Uptime Robot, and I know because I tested it like many times. So if I have to get this, but of course they need to say, hey, you should upgrade and so on, but I don't have enough money to upgrade, so I'm going to continue with the free version. And of course, I need to change this again, so I'm going to do it every 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and this is going to, that's it. Anyway,
Are you?
okay,
But where are you
yeah,
sending?
yeah, that's right, because creating an array without sending to anyone is not fine. So I'm going to send it to I could say to my personal email. So please don't add me to any spam list. Of course, I know many of them, but if you can like keep my email secret. So I'm going to use this one which sends information to a Slack channel, which is in our public Slack channel. So I create the monitor. Everything should be created. So this is the alert. So if I go here to Slack, this is basically test that I have been doing like for the whole day. This is some separator that I added. I'm going to test it the notification. So send test notification. Monitor doesn't exist. That's perfect. It's the perfect thing that you want to see during like the uh, what did I did? Did I do something wrong with this? Save changes. Uh, 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 Close. I'm going to reload just in case the old one that I removed is the. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So for some reason, I removed this one, the previous one. I'm going to test the notification, but let's see if I get something in
Then,
the channel. Okay, here it
yeah,
is. So I get a notification here. What I'm going to do while we do other things, I'm going to change the alert. I could stop this. So if I stop this, and I'm
yeah,
going to stop it, in 5 minutes we should get an alert saying, hey, this is down. Let's see if it works, because before, while we were testing, Gonzalo and I, we had some problems and we had to debug them. But if it fails, we will debug it with Tinybird, because and you will see how, using the stats that Tinybird provides, you can see what's going on with Uptime Robot. Anyway,
yeah,
and that's basically it. But wait, one final thing before moving forward, because you said, okay, you told me at the beginning that you were going to use the data projects and so on. So yeah, but you did everything in the UI. And
Yeah.
this is, I mean, I love the UI. I use it all the time. But once I want to put this in production, I move this to the CLI, right? So what I'm going to do is you get this pipe into local. So I run a pool. I just want to get this everything that matches our Wikipedia stats. So as you can see, there is like a new file here. I'm going to edit it so you see how things that you see in the UI are like related to what you see in the pipe file. The pipe file is basically a really simple file. I'm going to remove the description because it was a test. So basically, you see that same thing that we have in the UI, we have it here, right? I'm going to change it a little bit. That's it. So basically, I'm going to move to alert Wikipedia edits to endpoints to the folder. Um, that's it. I'm going to init a GitHub repo. I'm going to data sources, endpoints, and wake. That's it for the moment. Okay, so we have everything here, and of course I could change I could change the alert just pushing as I pushed before the data source, but we are going to do that later.
Related to that, Cameron was asking if we are going to share the GitHub repo after the session. Of course, we will. We want you all to replicate this, and not only this, but the testing part. That is what we are going to do next, and is the most interesting part of the session.
Yeah, yeah. Is testing the next thing what we are going to talk about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay.
Quick recap. We have the API. We have Uptime Robot consuming it and pushing to Slack. And now what we are going to do is check how to test this, how to evolve this endpoint, and using the TV test framework that, as we said, is in beta, but we want you to test it and report on the bugs you find in order we don't have to. And that's it. That's what we are going to do now, adding some parameters to correctly test it and all that.
I'm reading one question about if you are using some plain standard SQL.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically this is if you edit the file, you see this SQL here is a standard SQL. I mean, standard SQL. I don't think that there is some standard SQL actually because every single database implements their own extensions and particularities. But in this case, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward and pretty close to standard. We will use some kind of things that are not the standard at all, but kind of easy to use if you are used to using SQL, or even if you do not. But of course, this part of the file is not the standard. It's some sort of YAML file. Let's say it's simple that YAML because we didn't want to use YAML in this case. As you can see, you have it's more closest to the Docker file than YAML from Ansible, for example. But anyway, okay, let's talk about tests. So what I'm going to do here is to, as we already have this in production, I consider this production, right? So if I change this in order to run tests and so on, I'm going to break it. And actually, I was taking a look. Yeah, it's down now. It's down because I stopped ingesting. I'm going to continue ingesting. So let me enable it again. No, it's giving an error because I didn't basically it's not defined here. The sport thing is not defined here. So let me get again the event token and export it.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's not going to work. Actually, I don't remember what is the name of the actual sport TV token append. It. If I call it again, it should work. No, it doesn't work. I don't know why. Did I
I
do
think you
great?
had it in the D folder.
No, but I copied it here. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, let me check. Wait just 1 second. I don't want to stop the thing here. Edit events. Is edit
Edit
events
event. Yeah, edit
the one that
events.
I'm using? TV token append. Is this one? I don't remember. I don't know what's going on actually here, but I don't. I think that we are not going to stop it here. Did I copy it like properly? It's append token. I copied it. I guess so. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. If I run it here, it works, right? Yeah, it
Yeah.
works from here. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to use my development version of TV here, and that's it. Perfect. Good. So I'm going to keep that running. So the next thing I'm going to do is like as this is my workspace. I have several workspaces here. Each workspace is like a sandbox, so you can have different workspaces. So I have one here, which is Wikipedia edit test. Basically, it's a dashboard, sorry, a workspace I created just to run tests. In the same way that you have your local environment, or you have in Amazon, you have a account or a project just for tests, so for testing or staging or something like that, I have a workspace to do that. So, of course, if you go here to um, I can see how many of the workspaces I have, and I can see the workspace that I'm currently using. So in this case, I have the current is edit demo. So I want to switch to this one, which is edit test. So if I do TV workspace, uh, use this, I'm going to switch to this one. If I use the current one, this will be the new one, which is this. Okay. You see, in the same way that you have local environments, you can do this with the tinybird-cli. So, and you might guess, okay, but you don't have anything here. What are you going to test? So there are good news for you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run push, and I'm going to show you a new thing that we didn't use before, which is the fixtures. In this case, of push has a lot of options. All of them are really useful, but the one that I want to show you now is fixtures, which basically for each data source that has fixtures, and I'm going to show you. Look, I mean, data source, we have edit events data source, and there is like a edit events JSON. So when we push with this option, basically we are going to add or append this this data. And what I want to do is just push the full project. It doesn't matter how many resources I have. He push is going to push everything. Like, for example, in this case, it found two resources, which is an endpoint, RR Wikipedia API, whatever, edit events, and of course, it created the API endpoint and push this file. So if I go here to the dashboard, I will see these edit events, and with I don't know how many rows, this 644, and the Wikipedia edits, which of course is going to give an error.
Yeah.
Why is giving an error? Because the data that we push is old, right? It's like 10 minutes or 40 minutes or 30 minutes old. So you might be asking, how are you going to test this, right? So how are you like actually testing logic that depends on the actual time? Gonzalo, do you want to say something?
Yeah, two things. It's old, and also you have less events than the threshold. So
Yeah.
even if it was,
Yeah, we have 60. That's. I wanted to wait a little bit more to get more events, but I'm not the kind of person that likes to wait. So I prefer to have less events. Anyway, so how we are going to test this is so basically one of the nice things that uh, Tinybird allows is to have uh, parameters for endpoints. So you have, for example, an endpoint and you want to pass a parameter like, for example, timestamp, let's say. you can pass that in the URL and you can use in the SQL. So how do I do that? So for example, the way to know if there is one, this is basically a templating language. Is not some kind of, I mean, I don't know if there is a thing, there is if templates have some standard. I think that there are standard templates, right? So every single framework uses one. So we are using some kind of Jinja 2 template. It's not Jinja 2, but it's close to it. Python people will probably be familiar with that. I don't know of other languages, programming languages, but in this case, we use this. So basically, it's like uh, check if timestamp is defined, and if it is defined, we can do one thing, and if it's not defined, we can do a different thing. So basically, I'm going to place the whole if else, and if this is defined, we're going to do one thing, and if it's not defined, we are going to go through the logic that we have. So when we have defined timestamp, what we're going to do is like we are going to basically use it, right? That's it. So, sorry, I made a mistake here. That's it. Um, One thing that I'm forgetting is like when you use templating the templating language, you need to put here the percentage character. So yeah, in this for to test this, we can pass a timestamp to see, hey, I want to test this, but in this specific point in time, which is pretty useful because sometimes alerts don't work, and you need to reproduce what those alerts were seeing at that time point in time. So it's quite useful to always have a way to say, hey, run the same logic, but at this exact point in time. So
Yes.
um, we are going to do the same with the threshold. In this case, the threshold is 800, but in this case, I want it to be something that I can use. So I can use threshold. Default is going to be 800, and that's it. One of the things that I'm not showing you, which is like, for example, if I go here and I write, for example, if I use here the templating language, you get autocomplete and all of it and all of it. So you can like actually write timestamp, you can write here the default value, the description, and so on. And then when you write the description and so on, you have a lot, we generate a lot of documentation for you. But anyway, I'm not going to use
And
the UI. Yeah,
and also when you run it, you get the percentage parameter for free. You don't have to worry about
yeah,
it.
yeah, you don't need to okay, of course I could change this a little bit, but I'm going to keep it like this. So now that I have changes here, of course, if I git status, of course I have changes here. So what is the next step? The next step is to go here and to push again. In this case, I'm going just to push the endpoints alert because the data source didn't change. So I'm going to push it, and what happens is like, hey, you're not going to push it because you have already one. So by default, tinybird-cli does not override things. So I have to say force, please override the whole thing, um, and this way I have this. If I reload the pipe, I have what I wrote, right? Of course, still failing, but I have some parameters that I can use it here. So next
Yeah.
thing that I'm going to do, yeah, Gonzalo.
Now, let's kind of speed up because we have like 10 minutes.
Shit. Okay, okay. Let's do that this fast. So I'm going to just add some tests. Of course, there's like we have no tokens here, so I'm going to add a token for this pipe. In general, when you create from the UI, it adds it for you. So I'm going to add a new token, alert token. I'm going to add a scope, which is alert Wikipedia edits. Just read. That's it. That's it. Save changes. I go to dashboard again. I go to Wikipedia edits. I go to the API, and now I can get this here. I mean, actually, I don't need. Sorry. What did I do? What did I do? What happened? Shit, looks like I dragged something. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, I don't need the token because I am ready. I already have the token, the session. So, I mean, you can call it like this, and you're going to get error and so on. So, in this case, threshold is 800. This is the default value. So, someone has a meeting. Anyway, um, I'm going to check the data source, fixtures, and I'm going to go to the last part of the file. I'm going to get the last event, which is this one. Okay, so if I go here and write timestamp and I copy it here, I'm going to change the t because t is not something that we understand. Of course, it's failing, but if I go under 600, because we had 640, now we have the
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, if we go over 6, we go to 145, I get the error. So this is the way that we are going to create the test for us. So the way that we create the test is like, okay, let's we have a uh, testing command. So if you take a look, there are like many ways to add, disable, and so on. You can check them out. So what I'm going to add is like, I'm going to add the test. I'm going to say which file. I'm going to say okay.json. Basically, we store test in a JSON, and I'm going to say I want you to save this endpoint. So basically, it's like I'm doing this. What I did. Okay, no, fill it now. Okay, yeah. Tests. The file is there. So if I run test run, basically this is going to run the test, and of course it's not going to fail because basically we are checking what we just got. I'm going to add another test, which is okay. I'm going to get the error, and in this case, in order to reproduce the error, I can like do two things, which is move the threshold or move the date. I'm going to move the date a little bit in the future. I'm going to move this to 2 hours later. Um, yeah, so if I run this again, I got to test. That's it. So this is the way we are test. You can add more kind of tests. Instead of having like an endpoint, you can create a SQL query that to check results and so on. And of course, you can use any programming language framework to do this. One thing that I would like you to show is how we put this in GitHub Actions. Because I don't know if you are familiar with GitHub Actions, but basically it's a way to run test like a continuous integration fashion. So I have prepared here. I'm going to create the folder GitHub. GitHub. It's workflows, right? Workflows. Yeah, I'm going to create it like this, and I'm going to copy my GitHub workflows TV YAML to here. GitHub workflows. I'm going to edit it so you see what I'm actually doing, uh, which in this case is like I'm just uh, installing pip, installing the tinybird CLI with pip. I'm going to the TV version and printing the version. I'm dropping all the resources in the workspace. You can create a new workspace, but in this case, I'm reusing one. I'm pushing the project with fixtures, as you see. I'm going to remove push depths because this is not needed. And of course, you can run the test with TV run. I was using before the unit test framework from Python, but anyway, I'm not going to use it. So if I go here and I add this new file and add the GitHub thing, and I have a repo prepared here. I'm going to show you. I already prepared the repo, so I'm going just to push everything. I didn't do the commit, second commit, because that's true. So I'm going to push it. So if I go here to the actions thing, there should be some action running, or I don't know if it's going to run right away, because sometimes it takes time, because of course we are not paying for this. So it started. So at some point we should get the install and everything. And this is the way we do test. Of course, I mean, if you need more advanced test, you can always use any other programming language or any other framework test. But in general, to do the smoke test and to do the most fast test, this is good enough, and we used it for in several projects. Not like this, because of course this is new, but some kind of in different flavors. Anyway, this is everything. I think that actually we plan to close here, because we at the beginning we thought we are not going to have enough time to talk about everything. We have many more things to actually show you. I don't think that we are going to have time, but anyway, we will publish it. We'll publish it in GitHub and so on. But yeah, if we have time, we will go over that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Gonzalo.
Yeah, just a quick recap from the very beginning, and also to show you the thing that we didn't have the time to see. We started with data projects, introducing data projects. Was good the UI4, and what do we use data projects for? TV auth, TV init, TV push. We use the streaming data, the streaming API from Wikipedia in order to load all the data. We analyze using Karman to get the threshold for our alert. Created the alert and push it to production using Uptime Robot and Slack show and tell. Then, in order to test it, we had to use our templating language to define some parameters in order to define the test and check if the test will pass or not. And we were very optimistic about time. We were planning to add some functionality to the alert in order to take into account things that happened in the past, because right now it's a fixed threshold.
I think that it's interesting to say that we use this kind of alert, which is basically we generate the. I can show you in a minute, but we generate the threshold dynamically, basically using the history. It's not really advanced, but it works, and we have been using this for a client for months with no so many false positives, which is really great, and we catch pretty interesting things with the alert. And it's as easy as getting to the history, see what was happening at this point in time in different weeks of the last month or last 2 months or 3 months, and make decision and calculate the threshold based on that, and follow the same rules that we have been following this, but instead of having like a fixed threshold, just use a threshold that is a moving target actually. Yeah, sorry, Gonzalo.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, if we have the time and people is still with us, we can show it
Yeah.
later. Just let's finish this thing. As an extra ball, we knew this. We were not going to be able to get here. We were planning to follow this the algorithm that Wikipedia uses themselves to check if they have an outage or they have been shut down in any country, using the concept of entropy and all that they explain in this blog post that we will link in the comments. And just a sneak peek of this, we will post it in the repo and you will be able to test it. But it was just say, with one node calculating the entropy and then using some window functions to get the moving average. And I think that was it. So Javi, if you want to show something, I think we have.
We have 2 minutes. I think that we should probably go to the questions.
Okay.
You have any? If you don't have any questions, I can show you a little bit the what I had prepared. But anyway, there's just one question from Juan Jose, but I think that I answered it. I don't know if there were more. No, it looks like no. Is there any questions? There, maybe we are alone, Gonzalo, and we don't know. So it could happen, and we are just chatting. No questions. Okay, good.
Okay, no questions.
Anyway, yeah. So let me 1 minute. I'm going to use that minute to show you what we, that the other one I had prepared. So I'm going to show you here. Basically, this is a Wikipedia workspace that I had. So basically, in order to calculate the dynamic threshold, what we do is like, in this case, what we use is like, okay, we get information for the previous days. I mean, I put it 8 days instead of 7 days because I have no data from a week ago. So in order to show some data, I put 8 days instead of 7 days. But in general, with things that are events that are human generated, with a load that is high, in general they follow a pattern during the week. So in general, it's a good approximation to use this kind of, going 8 days, 15, I mean, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so on. Then calculate, and this we are here we use the um, typical outliers algorithm using quantiles. This is pretty standard. And basically, with this we calculate the threshold, and then the logic is exactly the same that we had before. Here, like, we have the event count and so on. And here, what we do is like, we get the threshold level that we calculated here in this node. We got it here. And what we do is like, instead of comparing with the fixed 800 thing that I put, basically compare with the dynamic one. And this is simple, and in general, it works. Not for all the use cases. Of course, sometimes you need to tweak things and so on, but in general, it works. It works pretty well. You can go much, much more advanced with SQL, but for example, this is the entropy-based alert that I have. So in this case, like, it's like more complex, calculating the entropy, calculating the moving average, the max meaning block, and then run some logic here with the latest change. But in this case, basically, it's like a more advanced, more statistics in the middle. But basically, in the end, it's always an endpoint that you call from Uptime Robot or any other tool, and that's it. That's everything that we wanted to say today, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, good.
I mean, I know you can stay here for hours, but
Yeah.
for the session, this everything we had, we will publish this in a repo. I hope Javi will do it because I don't have the code.
Yeah, I hope I get some time to do it, but yeah, I will try to do it.
Yeah, and just encourage you to join our community, build your things, and thank you all
Thank you.
for being there.
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening to us.
Okay, see you all.
Bye.
Bye.